Hey buddy, it's Peter, and this is the 2025 Can Am Outlander XMR 850, which is a 1000cc absolute mud monster, and this thing's super impressive. So we're dealing with a little bit of light and other stuff in this bay today, so we're gonna bring you closer and make sure you see everything clearly. I know that this isn't the perfect angle, but I wanna make sure I get the Extreme Torque Motorsports sign in here because I'm filming here at Extreme Torque Motorsports where they give me complete access to the entire BRP lineup, whether that's Sea-Doos, whether that's the boats, the Switch, whether that's ATVs, whether that's Spyders or Canyons or Rikers or anything else that you could possibly be interested in Can-Am. I get to come back to things again and again and again. So if there's something that you don't see me mention in this one that you want to know more about, make sure you let me know. They got stuff going on just outside the door here if you're hearing the engines in the background. I want to also point out that there is one thing that is mentioned on the website that I don't know about this. They say it has it, I can't find it, so I want your help in helping me find that if you know more about this than I do. So that'd be good to help me out. But again, Extreme Torque Motorsports, 3 locations in New Brunswick, awesome place to buy your stuff from, super knowledgeable people, except we're all stumped on one thing of this. So let's get going with this review. So if you heard me say off the top that this is the 850 model, not the 1000, but it's a 1000cc or 999cc, I didn't make a mistake, and the website that lists this is not making a mistake. It's actually the same engine in the 850 and the 1000, but this one is detuned. It does make for a little bit lower price, and if we're really honest, this is all you're ever going to need. The 1000 is just for bragging rights, or the full undetuned or fully tuned. The 1000, that's just for bragging rights. This is going to give you everything you need. So we're going to talk about a little bit about that engine. We're also going to talk about the features that make this thing kind of amazing. And I want to point out this thing's big, like it's tall. They've got the rad relocation kit here. Some really interesting stuff going on here. But we're going to start at the bottom, work our way up to this, work our way back over things, take a look at some of the controls and switches and stuff. And then we're going to help you decide if this is right for you. So the first thing we have to talk about before we bring you in super close is this profile. I know there's some glare on the screen, but this thing of course is painted red, and of course being a rad relocation type unit from the factory, they move everything up. So your normal winch would be down here, but by moving everything up, you end up with this feature here that once you see it, you can't unsee it. We call it the tongue. It looks like a tongue that holds this 3,500 pound winch out front. I just want to point that out to you because from this angle, you can kind of see it. Now we'll get a little closer and look at why it's up here and some of the functions that you get from that. So taking a look underneath that tongue, I want to show you sort of in the center of your screen there is where the winch would normally go. What you have here is something that has absolutely massive ground clearance, 13.2 inches of ground clearance with a suspension travel out front of 7.5 inches out front and 10.2 inches out rear. They are arched double A arms. What I mean by that is you have that arched area here. So a lot of time these bars here kind of fly straight down, especially on an ATV. On some of the side-by-side, you see them kind of arch up. And what that does is gives you more clearance the whole way through. So massive ground clearance, but also the ability to really attack some different terrain. So if we take a look over here, you can see that there's just a really sharp angle. This piece here, it does seem to be plastic over steel, but it's a very firm plastic. Of course, you could always armor it all up, but it gives you that nice kind of sloped area there to get over just about everything. And then you have that winch up high there, 3,500 pound winch like we talked about. We'll take a better look at that. And way up high, the rad relocation. Now, there are some unique things about the rad relocation. I want to point out while we're looking at here, you've got the LED lights there as well. Let's take a look at this rad relocation, which again, it's not really relocated. This is part of this XMR feature, and it's super smart. It does one thing that just makes it super easy to work with. So the reason you're relocating or positioning your rad up high here is because you're going to take this through a lot of muddy areas, water, that kind of thing. So what you have is something that's pretty unique in this class here. This pops off as easily as I just showed you, and I already loosened the bottom section, and that folds forward. And what you end up with is, if we go to the front, you're going to see a very easy to clean, easy to get to unit. So let me just go to the very front here. So standing in front of the unit, you can see your air intake way up high, kind of a sealed thing off the front here, and then a super easy to clean rad. Just pop this area that was there before, slide it forward. It takes just a couple seconds, and you can properly clean that off, because if you're going to be in muddy areas, you're going to want to make sure this is all cleaned up. On this front panel here, just in this section here, is your toolkit there, so you've got easy access to that as well. But very, very smart location, smart, you know, they think things through at Can Am on how to get to these things. It's no more of a pain in the butt to clean this. It's just super, super simple. And of course, your air intake is just massively high. It's the highest point next to your dash right there. So you know what's going on when you're getting stuck in the mud, if you're good to go or if you're not. So moving to the side, we're looking down on these massive tires. So of course the 30+ inch tires here, they look smaller in the shot that we're having, but it's because we're trying to come up from there. You look at the aluminum rims there. We're trying to move up from there and show you some of what that rad relocation does. You can see all this white space, literally white space. It's because the background here is the white walls across the room. There is literally nothing forward of the suspension. There's very little below the suspension, just the axle and stuff, and then everything else is behind the suspension, so you really have amazing weight centralization here as well. Moving things up out of the way of the mud, but still keeping something that's very centralized, which is going to make it handle well. Now, one thing that's interesting about the suspension here, we'll zoom into that a little bit, is you can see all those sort of gold threads there. That is part of your preload adjustment. You'll notice, or maybe you won't notice on this particular angle, these are high-end Showa shocks, but they are not piggyback shocks. And usually you see on a high-end unit more piggyback shocks. But of course, piggyback shocks are great for something that's going to be up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. This is going to be slower movements. It's going to be dealing with mud. So it's going to be something that has less area to get dirty, less things to get mud stuck on, like those piggyback shocks. But it's going to perform really well in the muddy type conditions. Again, keeping things open and clean. So no piggyback shocks, but that's for the purpose of this unit, absolutely fine by me. You still got high-end suspension here. So taking a look at the back here, one thing I really like is just this centralized exhaust. If you look in there, it kind of has that sporty kind of screened in look. Again, high, out of the way, nothing's going to happen with all that mud. And then of course you have some practicality here. Again, the massive tires, but the practicality is down in the center of your screen. Let's see if we can zoom in and get it to focus on there. You do have a hitch here. Now this has a massive towing capacity of 1,830 pounds. So of course you've got your receiver there. You can do what you need with it. So this is of course going to be looking fully like a play machine, but it's absolutely able to take your utility trailer, your same size utility trailer that you probably carry this on, and do the work that you need to do with it. So very, very practical unit here, as well as something that's a lot of fun. Again, LED brake lights up here around the steel bar, the protective bar, but there is something that's a little bit different here. I want to show you above there. So obviously we're on the side of this unit. We're looking at sort of the rear end of it behind the seat. I want to show you in front of the screen here the website for Can Am. This is the Canadian website. So in case you didn't know the horsepower, it's 82 horsepower and 66 foot-pounds of torque. It's a Rotax engine. I don't know if it's fully in focus here. I haven't got my glasses on. But this is what's interesting in the middle. Steel racks with Link quick match accessory system, 10-liter weather-resistant rear compartment. Now, my guess is that this may come with an accessory rear rack, but this isn't a steel rack. This is all, you know, plastic, and, you know, as far as I can tell, there's no steel in there. I will say this little center section there fits my iPad Air just perfectly, in case you're wondering sort of for scale how big that is. And of course, Can Am has a ton of accessories. You can sit there and put all kinds of Link accessories, L-I-N-Q, on this, on your side-by-side, on your Sea-Doo, whatever you want to put in there, you can put. But it says in that section there, and I'll bring my iPad back here, that there is a 10.9 liter or 2.9 gallon water resistant compartment. If you see in the middle of your screen there, I don't know if it's focusing on there. Again, I'm not wearing my glasses. Steel racks with Link quick match accessory system, 10.9 liter water resistant rear compartment. I can't find this compartment, and a couple people I've asked here, now I haven't asked everybody here, Torque is really awesome with their product knowledge, but at this point we haven't found a 10.9 liter rear compartment anywhere. We've checked underneath the seat here, there's a handle there, you pull it up, there's nothing there. There is a little glove box area that isn't really a glove box, it's just for your phone, we'll show you that in a second. So if you know about this compartment, fill me in. Maybe it's a Link accessory that comes with it. I'm not sure. Maybe something that fills in here. I don't know. But you'll have to let me know about that Link compartment, because as this sits right now, I can't find it. Before I take you into the dash area, the rider's area, I'm just gonna jump up here. First of all, this is a big step. Remember, you got a lot of ground clearance there. One thing I like about this is it is a big unit, but you kind of feel like you have good control over it. You feel like you've got some ability to kind of maneuver around. Sometimes the suspension can be really stiff at first and you don't feel like you can really rock it. This thing, I feel like I've got good control. It feels smaller and lighter than it actually is. Now looking forward, you see a lot of stuff in front of you. You got that air intake right up top, but overall seating position, I got size 11 feet here, running shoes on, not boots, but I got a lot of room to move around, more than a lot of other units. You do have the steel foot pegs there. Overall, very nice commanding position. One thing I really love about Can Am is the seats are extra soft and you got a lot of room to move around on this thing. So if you're going uphill, downhill, whatever you want to do, you want to get close to the front, you want to go back, you can sit on this, and while the suspension is usually good on just about every unit that they have at Can Am, the seat adds that little bit of vibration resistance, that little bit of, you know, extra sort of cushioning that you really need to make this thing comfortable. So that's what this has, is a really nice seat, but it also has a little compartment here. I'm going to show you the dash and the view, so let's bring you in close and show you that right now. All right, so again, we're dealing with some bright sunshine and shadows here, so I want to just bring you in here. There's the exhaust that I was trying to show you, a little bit of the sort of screen in there. It just looks pretty cool. This exhaust hanger, in case you're, or license hanger, in case you're wondering if it hangs down in front, you've got room to put it up over the top here as well, so it's not going to be in the way of your exhaust there. There's a little bit closer look at your rear suspension there, and you can sort of see everything in there. Now let's pull you over to the dash area, and we'll come full screen. Actually, we'll go wide angle just as we hop on. So actually, before we go too far, there's your steel you know, foot pegs there. Jumping over here, again, staying wide angle here, so everything's a little bit skewed. I want to show you this little compartment right here. Let's kind of come in there. You've got this right in front of you. You push that in, lift it up here, and it's not a proper full compartment here. It's clearly designed to just hold a phone. You can get your fingers in here to the side here and scoop a phone out of there. It's got a USB-C port, which I appreciate. I think USB-C is what everything should come with nowadays as electronics move forward. And if you don't have a USB-C, you can get an adapter, but your next phone is going to be a USB-C anyways. So anyways, because that's what Apple's using, that's what everybody's using. So overall, what you have here is a pretty comfortable, pretty practical unit here. Simple, simple, simple is the key with all this Can Am stuff. So again, not a lot of buttons to hit, no crazy screens. Let's just turn the screen on here. You can see you've got your standard screen. Now you've got different drive modes, different steering modes. So you have electronic power steering with a few different modes. You've got some drive modes there. There's a performance mode. Basically a clear screen, easy to see here, easier to see in person than in the video here. And then you've got down the bottom all of your warning lights you can kind of see in the light gray there. So we'll just tap that again for a second. Don't want to start it up inside right now, but left side fuel gauge, very easy to read, right side temperature gauge, and then a whole bunch of different you know, standard pieces of information. So again, I kind of like that it's not on this type of muddy unit, that it's not a high-end screen or something like that. It just seems simpler. It seems to fit more the purpose of this. Over here you've got your IEB mode, so that's your intelligent engine braking mode as well. This is where Can Am does really well with their electronics, is they don't make it flashy with like the 10.25-inch screen that they do have in some of their Can Am products, but they do put their money into good technologies, intelligent engine braking, that kind of stuff. You've got your front diff lock, which again is Can Am's system for that intelligent sort of diff lock. So you've got a lot of the nice things that are going to make this thing easy, easy, easy to ride. Low, high, neutral, reverse, and park right there. Simple, all out of the way of your knees. I had a few ATVs where the gear shift was in the way of the knees. That's just not something Can Am does. And again, a lot of space here. It's a wider unit, big unit. Very strong feeling. You don't feel any flex even on the outside plastic here. So very, very impressive unit. And again, that air intake is up high. Let's see if we can get some, I'll just zoom in from a further away. That screen side is on your side. So as you're splashing into the mud, it's the air intake is from this side and way up high as well. Really impressive unit when you see it in person, and also very simple, easy to use, which is what you want. So before we talk if this is right for you, and a couple controversies about this thing, I just want to show you the key as well. This is a typical Can Am key on their more higher end type things. You have a digital key type system, which allows you to just plug that onto a knob. I believe these can be, the same key can be set up for different vehicles. So if you had a Can Am Riker or a Sea-Doo or something like that, you could plug that in, or you could set this key up electronically, I guess, to work with multiple vehicles. So this is the little clip that goes onto the vehicle to keep it there, and this is what plugs in as your actual key. So let me just show you how easy that is to connect up. You can connect it to yourself, or you can connect it right up to here if you want to. I don't know if that's where it's designed to go, but that's where it is. Key plugs into there. So in my mind, this thing is interesting. There's the first controversy of just, I don't know, stuff, and I don't understand where the rear water resistant 10.9 liters of storage is. Without that, in other words, without an accessories or without me knowing where that is, you have limited storage on here. The rear rack, of course, can hold 200 and something pounds. It's really good. Let me see what it says here. 240 pounds. So you can put a ton of weight back here, but when you have this rad relocation kit from the factory, you lose all front rack. So not knowing where that compartment is, and if it's an accessory, that's good to know, but it is sort of a compromise you're going to make with storage. Same thing with this sort of glove compartment. Because of the rerouting of everything to raise things up, you really only have space for a phone in here rather than extra things. So it's worth noting that there are some sacrifices to this type of unit. Is that a compromise? Is that a controversy, I should say? It's not really. The controversy with this, to me, is 1,000 cc. Now, when I idled it, I haven't run this thing yet, haven't driven it any distance yet, but when we were idling it, moving it in here, it's quite a quiet engine. I kind of like that. It doesn't, I mean, it can sound aggressive, but it also sounds polite, you know? But 1,000 cc engine detuned to 850 cc. Is that a controversy? Is that a thing? Do you want an actual 850 cc engine? I think it's going to go a long ways for reliability if it's detuned. That can be a good thing, right? If it's capable of making a whole bunch more power. So again, it's not an 850 cc, it's 1,000 cc detuned to like 850 cc power numbers. It's still 1,000 cc, so you're still running the same engine the same way, but it's going to be not running at full max power. To me, that's probably going to help with reliability. But is it a controversy to not have an 850 cc engine in here, to have essentially the same engine as the top line model? I don't know if that's controversy or not. Who should buy this? Well, first of all, if you want something that isn't just about the engine, I mean, this thing's going to be a good engine, but if you want something that's about the entire package, Can Am does this so well. They've got the right suspension on this, they've got the right tires, the rad relocation kit, easy to clean, spacing, their weight centralization. So many of the ATVs that I run into these days, they're just kind of an engine with four wheels put together, but that weight centralization, a lot of the things, the details that they put into these things at Can Am, at BRP is really good. So I really appreciate that. Do you need higher tech? I don't know. There is a 12-volt port here. I don't think I mentioned that, so there is some extra things if you want to put some accessories on the front here. But to me, this is probably one of the ultimate mud machines out there that you can justify because it's got such a good towing capacity. It's got the link system here to do some of your extra carrying. You really have something that's unique in the industry. Highly capable for fun, very capable for work, but again, not a lot of compromise on the fun side to do that work. So really interesting unit here. And again, the Outlander lineup it should almost have more names. The Outlander lineup just really goes down and up a long ways. So I did 3 Outlanders just about a week ago. You can check them out on my channel. They're all lower trims than this, and this one deserved its own special video. So this is the new 2025 Outlander XMR 850 with that 999 cc engine detuned to be 850-ish. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know in the comments, and we'll talk to you in the next one.